So I spent the last week going over hundreds of new channels, just trying to figure out why many of them aren't getting more than 200 views in the first couple of days. And what I found was that every single one of these creators was making at least a few of these mistakes without even realizing it. So if you can avoid every single one, you can give yourself the best possible chance to trigger an outlier video like this one. So mistake number one, which I see constantly, is sending your video to the wrong people. I mean, I get it. You just spent days on a video, maybe even weeks, and you're dying for some views. But sending that link to your group chat or your mom is definitely a mistake. I mean, you're giving YouTube the wrong information right away, because when you do this, you're effectively confusing the system. Okay, so check this out. If you're a small creator, your first 100 views are what tells YouTube who you are. So this is when the system is trying to build a profile of who your viewer actually is. And if those 100 views come from people who don't actually watch your niche, you're literally training the algorithm to look for your audience in the wrong place. I mean, think about it. So if your best friend watches nothing but NBA highlights and then you send him your video about how to cook for your family on $20, I mean, the algorithm looks at his profile and then gets confused. It tries to find other people who want to save money on groceries by looking at the people who watch professional basketball. So when those sports fans don't click on your cooking video, I mean, YouTube assumes your video's bad. So let the algorithm find the right people from scratch. I mean, it has to work with the right information here. So once you stop forcing those early views, then you definitely have to deal with mistake number two, which keeps most creators in a panic, including myself at the start: refreshing the studio app. I mean, we've all been there, refreshing the analytics every 5 minutes like it's going to change something. But it's not like refreshing the page is going to make the views go up. So it just creates this temptation to want to panic. And when you see that number hasn't moved, let's say in the last 3 hours, I mean, it's easy to start overthinking and getting very emotional because you spent hours on it, right? So you might assume that the video's already failing, and that feeling can lead to the real error, which is touching your title or thumbnail too early. I know how this feels because I've spent hours sitting there just pulling down on that screen, just waiting for the count to finally move. You're just hoping that one of those refreshes is finally going to be the one where the algorithm kicks in. But one of the temptations is to change your packaging before you have a real sample size, and you're going to be basically guessing because you have zero evidence. You're messing with the results before the test is even over. And trust me, I used to make decisions with data for a living as an industrial engineer, and I still do it as a business owner. So this is about waiting until the numbers are statistically significant so you can actually trust the trend that you're seeing. So you should not even consider a change until you hit either 100 views or at least 500 impressions. And sometimes even that may not be enough. But until you reach those marks, I mean, you don't actually know if your thumbnail's bad. All you're doing by changing it early is resetting the clock and confusing the system. Now, let's say you do wait for those numbers to come in and be statistically significant. You can still run into mistake number three, which is reading your numbers the wrong way. So here's the rule. If your impressions are rising, meaning YouTube is actively pushing the video, but your click-through rate is very low, leave the title alone and swap the thumbnail. So this confirms that the topic is interesting enough for the system to test it, but the image failed to win the click. However, if your impressions are actually dropping off, or you've had too low of impressions since you published the video, then that's when you should consider to try to change the title and find a more compelling angle. And this is very important. To know exactly what to change, you have to look at the traffic sources. So if your views are coming from browse, meaning the homepage, then your packaging needs to grab a stranger's attention on the homepage. So this is where psychological triggers like the information gap or negativity bias work best. So you need titles that create a mental itch or warn people about a mistake to stop their scroll. If your browse CTR is low, it means that your broad appeal is missing some. But it can also mean that your own subscribers and casual viewers aren't finding the video attractive enough to click. And if the people who already know you aren't interested, the algorithm won't show it to anyone else. But if your views are coming from suggested, you're appearing next to a video that someone's already watching, probably one of your competitors' videos. So here, the brain prefers things that are easy to process. So using specific numbers or lists helps because it gives the brain like a finish line. And then the viewer knows exactly what they're getting and how long it's going to take, so they're more likely to click it. And studies show that headlines with numbers are significantly more likely to be clicked than plain text because they feel more concrete and manageable. But the numbers in the dashboard only tell half the story, which leads to mistake number 4, failing to study your retention graph. The work doesn't end the second that you hit publish. A huge mistake is not waiting for that graph to show up so that you can see where people actually quit. I mean, it's actually hard to look at this because it feels like a personal rejection. I mean, I've opened my reports before and I've seen my retention drop to 60% in the first 30 seconds, and it's a massive reality check. You realize that while you thought you were being interesting, the audience was telling you exactly where they got bored. I mean, it's an ego bruiser for sure, but it's the only way to stop the 200 view cycle. So if the audience leaves at the exact same spot, I mean, that is the system telling you exactly what to stop doing in the next video. I mean, don't just look at the percentage, look at the dips. So if you see a massive drop off at the 30-second mark, then go back and watch what you said. Did you spend too much time rambling? Did you forget to give them a sneak preview of what's actually coming up next? Do the work. Don't be like the 99% who just don't ever look. And that leads me to mistake number 5, which is leaving the comment section empty. So the first hour is actually the best window to build a community, but most creators leave their comment section blank. That's what I found in those 250 channels that I looked at. You need to be the first one in there. Pin a question that requires more than a yes or a no answer. So instead of saying like, did you like the video, which I've seen that a lot, ask which of these 8 mistakes have you been making? So that early spike in comments is actually a huge signal to YouTube that your video is starting a conversation. So it keeps people on the page longer, which boosts your session time. So act like a host, don't just open the door and then walk away. Now, if the comments are quiet and the views are low, it's very easy to fall for mistake number 6, which is a massive myth of re-uploading a failed video. So if a video doesn't take off immediately, do not delete it, do not re-upload it. YouTube recognizes that file the second that it's processed. So re-uploading almost never works. And honestly, it just makes your channel look like a mess and it makes you look desperate. Don't be the desperate person. So the reason the urge to re-upload is so strong is because of the time that was spent. So you probably put a massive amount of work into a video sometimes, and seeing that line stay flat feels like a giant waste of your life. But you want to believe that there's like a glitch that the system had because the alternative is a lot harder to accept, which is you have to admit that the hook just didn't work, or something else in the video isn't connecting with people, or the title, or the thumbnail, or both, or all of the above. I mean, even Unspeakable talks about this on his channel. I mean, he's made the exact same video 20 or 30 times, refining the idea and the execution until it finally went mega viral. And he doesn't get small numbers, he gets tens of millions. So your audience will actually appreciate the refinement as you get better at your craft. But for now, just leave the old one alone and focus on the remake. If a video fails, just leave it up so you have a record of why it didn't work. So use that footage to study the retention and the hook, because when you know better, you do better. Focus on the remake, not the re-upload. So that leads me to mistake number 7, keyword stuffing the description box. Stop treating your description like a place to dump keywords. The mistake is thinking that putting a list of words in the box still works. I mean, putting 50 tags and a wall of links in the first 3 lines just makes you look desperate. So modern YouTube SEO is driven by what you actually say in the video, not a hidden list of words in the box. So just keep it clean. Write 2 or 3 sentences that actually describe the video for a person to read. Put your most important link or your call to action right at the top where people can actually see it. And this leads me to mistake number 8, which is obsessing over the perfect time to post. So stop thinking that your video failed just because of the hour that you posted it. Whoever put that thought in your mind is a bad person. YouTube is a recommendation engine, not live TV. While timing might help a tiny bit with your initial notifications, a great video will find its audience regardless of the clock. The perfect time to post is whenever the video is actually finished and high quality. If you're spending more time worrying about the hour than the actual hook of the video, your priorities are backwards. Focus on the quality of the content, not the time on the watch. Stop guessing and just watch this video next. I'm going to show you the exact strategy you need to